Live from Cleveland, Ohio, presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play REFLOG Show.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn about it. Contact by Chuck to the 10. He's the front of the 5. Jim Jones
It's time, the Big Play REFLOG Show.
Welcome to the Big Play REFLOG Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Nick Padone, Chris McNeil, always joining us, the star of the show. I didn't forget you this time. And shout out to Michael Bohm, our producer today. We're back in studio. We're going to get this started with a really cool guest we've got today. Should we get right into our Labatt interview? What do you think? We got because we have two, Nick. So
Yeah, let's send it.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and send it just so we can get everyone in without having an hour and a half show, because I know we've done that before too. But right after this, we will be welcoming in. We've got in the brand new LeBron James movie Shooting Stars, Drake Tobias joining us.
Alrighty. What's going on, Drake?
What's going on, man? It's good to see you.
Today we're joined by an actor in the brand new LeBron James movie Shooting Stars, Drake Tobias. I know Drake. We went to high school together. So I'm glad to have you here, man. You like the studio? We're in the airport.
I do. I love it. I love all the little like trinkets and hot sauces you got back there.
That's all
yeah.
Bernie.
Oh yeah, ask us about those hot sauces.
Ask Gab about that hot sauce. It's a story for sure.
Hey, so wait a second. Before we ask Drake any questions, Drake, I got to ask you, what was Nick like in high school?
Oh man. He was super athletic. He was a beast. He shrunk
Whoa.
about 6 inches. He could dunk. Played golf with him one time. He shot 62. Never played with him again. I mean, he was an animal.
Wow. How
Just
much
as
did you
I
pay
had
him?
pictured. That confirms everything
Appreciate
I already
it.
knew. Thanks, guys.
How much did you pay him before this show?
That one is actually free. That's the next one that I gotta start paying them. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the movie. Like LeBron's whole life, especially us growing up here in Cleveland, like has been in the spotlight. Was there any stories or like nuances of like while filming or the prep that went into it that like any stories about LeBron that kind of came to you as a surprise?
I mean, it's kind of hard to have a surprise when it comes to LeBron because he's one of the most famous people in the world. I really enjoyed the story of how he met Savannah at the party. And one thing that I learned about LeBron throughout the whole process that I really enjoyed, and it's not really a surprise, is he's really like superhuman in a way. To be that tall, that big, that athletic, and also still be a good person.
Yeah.
You know, have a good family, give back to the community. We actually had an Akron premiere of the movie at House 330, which is something he built down there for people in Akron to get work and like do all this stuff. So, I mean, just his ability to stay for the most part out of drama other than like tweeting back every now and then. But just to be a good person, it's at that level, extremely difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Was he like involved in like any of the prep, any of the filming? Like obviously you said, like the premiere, was he like around at all? Or was he like pretty hands off?
So it's based off of a book that he had in writing.
Cool.
So I assume he had something to do with the script, but
Yeah.
during filming, no. The rest of the Fab Five and Coach Jru were there during filming, and we got to meet them. And it was funny because they were all like meeting their counterparts.
Yeah.
And then they were like, I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. They're like, who were you?
Yeah.
And
Well,
like,
then what was the reaction when they found out that you were Jimmy?
they were just like, cool. He's like, oh, that kid's playing Willie. Like, oh, that kid's playing Shion. That's a white kid with goggles. And I'm like, yeah.
That's so funny. What was the casting process like? How did you audition and get the part?
Yeah, so it starts off with the role. You get sent like these tiny little breakdowns of like Jimmy Podesky, 15 years old. I think they put like super skinny, super nerdy, bunch of pimples, and like seemingly unathletic. And I was like, oh, I got this. And I just put myself on tape. I had my mom read the other parts, and you just turn that in, wait a few days, they call you back, and that one's live on Zoom, so it's way more stressful with a bunch of people you don't know watching you, with all with their screens off, and you just do the scenes again. And funnily enough, it was between me and one other person, and initially I didn't get the role because we had to send in like a minute-long clip of us playing basketball.
Yeah.
And they ended up choosing the other kid, and I was like, that's fine, and I don't get roles all the time. And I got a call like 2 days later from my agent, and he was like, can you play basketball? I'm like, yes, I can play basketball. He's like, no, really, because the last kid said he could play basketball, and he couldn't. Because they had a screen test, and they were doing all these drills and throwing alley-oops and all this stuff, and he couldn't keep up. So I had to go to some private, secret gym that LeBron has in Akron. That's just a blank building. You would never know it's there.
Wow.
They had to confirm you were a baller for this position.
No, so again, and I know it's kind of funny that Chris asked that question first of like what I was like, but like what you were like in high school, like you could play basketball, like you could play sports, and we've like played basketball together, like we shot around together. Yeah. So like everybody on the cast then like could play, because some movies you watch and it's like, you know, some of the guys are just like, you could tell like they're not athletes. So like everybody on the cast could play then.
It was a healthy mix between actors who could play basketball and basketball players who could act.
Oh, cool.
So myself, Caleb McLaughlin, Khalil Everidge, we were all kind of cast as actors, and then we had basketball practice every weekend, and they hired like guys from Europe and like G League guys. And it's a bunch of like 6'7", super athletic, and then like me, who's like 5'11", and I have a vertical of like 2 inches. But then, of course, you got Scoot Henderson, Mookie Cook, AJ, and then some of the senior guys at the beginning of the movie, like Malcolm and Jeremy. I mean, Jeremy was Cleveland State's point guard for a few years, and Malcolm plays overseas and in the G League and stuff. So
sweet. Did you get to learn a little bit? I know we mentioned like some of the other guys and like their roles with the Fab Five. Did you get to learn any about like Jimmy Podesky?
So here's the funny thing. Jimmy Podesky is not a real person.
Is he not?
He is not a real person.
But is he based off of like, was there like a scrawny white kid on the roster that like...
Yeah. And so initially the script had like 3 or 4 versions of like a Jimmy Podesky, and it was supposed to be like the rest of the team. And the studio, I guess, was like, we can't do this with like 3 or 4 actors. So they just put them all together, and Jimmy is like an amalgamation of all of the white kids at the end of the bench, you know? And I don't know why they had to give me goggles, and
they had to make you
the
as nerdy as
the
possible.
goggles were an awesome touch though.
Oh man, just showing up on set every day and seeing the lady like holding them, ready to give them to me. I'm like, oh.
That is kind of funny, because you know how many people were probably like, I never heard of that Jimmy Podesky kid, and then we're like trying to Google it, you know, because you hear the names of the Fab Five
Drake
all the
pops
time.
Up.
Well, like at the end when they're like, this person is working here, or like LeBron did all right.
And then they're like, Jimmy's kind of like, he's not real.
And Jimmy's not a real person. So yeah.
No, that's sick. All right, so last
you hear actors. Let me ask you this: so you hear actors like all the time who take on these huge roles of individuals, and they want to make it so true, and they want to make it true to who they are, and make sure that they're doing right by that person. Did you feel some kind of like an odd responsibility to being real towards the amalgamation of what is, you know, Jimmy Podesky from all these different players?
That's a great question. And yes, I did, because I knew that anybody that was on that St. V team was going to be watching that movie going, like, which one of these kids is supposed to be me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I talked with Chris, the director, and Rachel Winter, the producer, and the idea of Jimmy was just supposed to be a happy kid with no kind of judgment, no worries. I mean, at the beginning of the movie, when they bring him to Betts Park, and the whole joke is like, you need a fifth, here's a scrawny little kid, it flies over Jimmy's head. He's just happy to be there. He's like, hey, man, like, what's up?
Yeah.
And he sits on the bench for 4 years and is just friendly and happy to be there. He's happy to have friends. And I think he is less about the basketball aspect of it and more of just the friendships that the Fab Five had with others outside of those 5 people was kind of the idea of Jimmy.
Yeah, like the party scene was fun. But so like no spoilers. We won't give too much away if you haven't watched it yet, but go watch Shooting Stars on Peacock. All right, I also know that you're a big Cavs fan. I grew up here in Cleveland. Who's the GOAT, LeBron or Jordan? We get into this with almost every basketball person that we have on, but we need it from you now.
I mean, it's got to be LeBron.
For sure.
I'm not just saying that because I worked on Shooting Stars. LeBron, definitive answer.
Bet.
Also because I never watched MJ live, so.
Yeah, I think that's so hard for us. It's like a no-brainer. We're gonna say LeBron. Anyone who hasn't seen MJ live.
All right, Chris. Well, LeBron or Jordan?
I'm going to say, oh, gosh. I've said Jordan in the past, but, today is the anniversary of 2006.
Yeah, there you go.
Today, I say LeBron James, by far the GOAT. No doubt, hands down. Screw MJ.
Thanks, Chris.
There you go. I saw him rip our hearts out too many times, MJ. I'm going LeBron today, for sure.
Love it. Drake, what for you was like the coolest part? Because I know like you've been in stuff before, but was this like any more special? Like having known like LeBron and obviously follow the Cavs, and then like the story that goes into it. Like, you wore the St. V's jersey throughout the whole thing, like used to wearing an Orjonian jersey, so a little bit different. Like what was the coolest part for you about like this entire Shooting Stars process, opposed to some of the other things that you've done throughout your career so far?
Oh, man. I guess 2 things. One being the longevity of it.
Yeah.
How long I was there. Because oftentimes it's a day player role. You're there for 1 day. You pop in, you pop out. You don't really get to know anybody. But for this, there was pre-production, and then we shot for 8 weeks. So I got to know all of the actors who played the Fab Five. And even I'm still really good friends with Joe Lozak, one of the bench guys. We just sat next to each other because neither of us were playing when they're doing all the basketball stuff. So it's just us talking and then occasionally like clap and be like, whoa, yeah. And then they yell cut and we go back to talking. And location.
Yeah.
Like typically they put you up in some place and it's just you by yourself. But we shot in Akron, Cleveland, and we actually shot in Macedonia.
Really?
Fun little Easter egg, the La Quinta scene where they're sitting by the pool and whatnot, that was filmed right next to the Bob Evans on Route 8, like that
No
La Quinta.
way.
And then there's a scene at the Knights Inn, like right next to the La Quinta.
way.
We shot at the La Quinta and the Knights
that's
Inn.
funny.
Wow.
And-
So you obviously didn't have any influence on that, or did you?
Oh, no. I just, they text you the location of where like home base is, like where all the trailers and stuff are.
Yeah.
And I got the location and I looked at it and it said Fun and Stuff, Macedonia. And I was like,
What?
oh, really? I used to work there.
That is true.
I was like, oh, that's a great full circle moment.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Good stuff, man. Drake, do you have anything that you want to plug? I know you're doing a bunch of stuff. Obviously, Shooting Stars. If people haven't seen it, go check it out. Anything that you want to plug?
Oh, man.
The gram?
Yeah, sure. Follow me on Instagram. It's just at Drake Tobias, Drake_Tobias. And then I do want to say one thing. It's kind of a spoiler, but
All good. Go
not
for it.
really. I want to mention Jimmy Podesky made varsity as a freshman.
He did.
People always forget this.
Wow, Jimmy may have ridden the bench, but you know what? Jimmy made varsity as a freshman.
Jimmy was a bucket.
And then, at the end, you got to see a little
Yeah.
glimpse of the skill set behind Jimmy Podesky.
That was the best day, like, ever. Because I had been sitting, we shot that in like week 7. So
Okay.
for 6-7 weeks, I'd been sitting on the bench, and all of the other extras in the crowd thought I was also an extra, which
Yeah.
is totally fair because I wasn't really doing anything. And then I got up there, and it was like this one of us kind of moment where I shot. And
that's awesome.
Chris Robinson still owes me money. I'm gonna keep saying that until he pays me.
Why? Because did you hit it like in a certain amount first take?
Yeah.
And that's the take that's in the.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I said, this is
impressive.
what you pay me for. I was so nervous, dude. He was like,
Step right into it because it was nice and again. So I'm watching this with Cam, my girlfriend. I'm like, no, like Drake actually can play basketball, and then like you shoot it, you make it. Obviously, it's for the movie. She like hits me with the snarky like, I wonder how long it took them to do some of these shots. I'm like, well, like I feel like some of these people could probably play, and then like I know Drake could play, so try and explain it to her. But it's nice to know now from like the source that it was the first
One take Drake.
yeah, that was what it was. It was one take Drake. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
love
go. That is cool. You know what's really cool about that? That I feel like you got probably a lot of bang for your buck because to put in that many hours, I've been on sets before too, and be an extra versus being in the script.
Yeah.
And you didn't really, did you kind of feel like,
Like it was highway robbery.
yeah, or like, or like a kicker on a football team, you know, like they don't really, they come in, you know, but they get to kind of chill and collect that paycheck. Did you kind of feel like you were living a bit of the high life there?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. It was like my friend Joe and I would get to set at the same time. He'd go to like extras holding, and I would go to a trailer and get breakfast and all this bougie stuff, and then go through like hair and makeup and costume and all this other stuff, and then we would just meet next to the seats, and it was like two different journeys to the same path.
And go sit there.
Yeah, and there were some days where I definitely was just in the background of Mookie dunking or Scoot dunking, and you're there for 13 hours just occasionally clapping, and I'm like, this is great. Like, I could do this all day.
Yeah.
So
That is awesome. Who are you represented by?
Cleveland agent is Doherty.
Okay.
And then kind of New York, LA, Atlanta, all over is A3. And then I have a manager named Scott Silver.
Mm-hmm.
Cool,
Nice.
cool. All the plugs. Drake, appreciate you hopping in here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Glad you're able to find the airport.
Whatever, man.
Good stuff. Gab,
Yeah.
do we want to get into our second guest? Should we have one of the interns usher him in, or is Bohm
Yeah.
gonna just go for it and usher him in?
We'll do a little switcheroo here.
Cool, cool. Chris, have you had a chance to check out that movie yet?
I have not. Now I need to.
Yeah, you got
I
to.
didn't
It's
realize
good.
it was actually out. How long has it been out now?
I think only a few weeks. I think like this is
Okay.
probably like week 2, week 3.
That's good because I'm running out of things, so that is perfect.
Yeah,
that fits
yeah.
right in my schedule here in the summer because I've kind of hit up all the stuff I wanted to, and this was one that was on my schedule to see. Obviously, with LeBron, local story, and now I've got a connection there
For sure.
with Drake. So this is certainly something I'm going to be looking out for on Peacock, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's another streaming service now I'm going to have to get. I'm glad I cut the cable because I have saved so much money by buying every single streaming service.
Watch
But
out
that's a
because
different story.
Peacock, yeah, just make sure you're invested in keeping that because what I did for the Olympics is I downloaded it and I forgot about my free trial and they just spanked me with an $80 limit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I even called. I was like, it was one day late. I forgot about it. I just wanted to watch Alice and Felix. And they were like, sorry.
So now you got it.
Yeah. Well,
There's
then
a
I
lot of
canceled
good
it
stuff
after
on it. I watch The Office on there all the time.
Yeah, what else
I'd
is on
watch
there?
it for The Office. There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's on there. It's pretty much like so. It's NBC's thing. So it's pretty much anything that NBC has is like on there. Plus they have, kind of how all these like streaming services are starting to get like they have their own exclusive stuff. I don't know why I feel like I'm doing an ad for it right now, but I don't know. I
Yeah, if it's
do like it.
NBC, the one thing I will not watch is any golf coverage they have on there because their golf coverage is absolutely horrible. I'm not happy with the way that they put together that U.S. Open.
You tell them.
Awful.
I heard
Sure.
I heard that was quite the feedback. Like
Well,
this-
yeah. They need cameras that can follow the ball, which I know is pretty novel, but you got to follow the ball. You also have to know a little bit about the players and not try and slap together a story about the guy who's leading it on the 18th as he's walking up.
Yeah, that's
But-
tough.
Let me digress.
All good. Well, I think our second interview is all set to go.
We have brought in our second interview, and we are welcomed by organizer of the upcoming Settlers Landing charity concert, Jru Shurtleff, thanks for coming in.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for
There i-
having me on.
There is no off button on that suit, is there?
And there is not. Sorry if I'm blinding any of your viewers out there.
This is exactly why we brought you on.
Well, at first, so take people a little bit behind the scenes. One of our interns, Ryan, went and grabbed you from the parking lot, and I'm like, oh my God, he got the wrong guy. Like, this guy just escaped from the Cuyahoga County inmate, program, and then here you are. I'm like, oh, he's coming on our show. I'm like, I thought he was trying to get Ryan to get him on one of these planes to get him out of here. So glad to know that you actually belonged here and you're not an inmate.
Maybe we could start there with the suit and wearing it to Browns games, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like-
How
yeah,
long
just-
have you been doing that for?
This suit I originally got in like 2014. Actually, the origin of the suit was the Kentucky Derby. Funny enough.
Love it.
And then I was like, wow, I should start wearing these to Browns games. And it's seen quite a few in that time period. It's seen a lot of ups and downs. But
Did it ever duel as like a Lloyd Christmas on Halloween?
I thought about that. I probably couldn't pull that off. I did wear it as a Halloween gimmick suit one year, but it's mainly just for the Browns these days. It's dedicated to them.
Awesome.
So that orange suit, I'm just trying to think, that's kind of birth by fire there because it's coming in 2014, 15, 16. Those are some rough years. Not that we haven't had, our share of rough years, but those are particularly rough, and especially when we go 0-16.
Yeah, it saw some rough years actually. 2016, it saw all 16 games. I actually attended every game in 2016. And then I
Home
attended
and road is what you're
home
saying.
and road.
Wow.
Yeah, went to I think it was Philly, Miami, Washington, Buffalo, Tennessee, and then of course the 3 divisional games. Funny enough, I even went to the New York Giants Packers playoff game that year at Lambeau. So the joke I always made is that I went to more NFL games that year than Hugh Jackson did.
That's good.
Yeah, that was a rough stretch. Obviously, we went 1-15. Went to 13 more games the next year. So over the course of those 2 seasons, I went 1-28 in this suit.
Wow.
So what's it
brutal.
like wearing an orange suit walking into an opposing team's stadium?
It really depends on
I
where.
thought you were going to say at walking into the airport.
Yeah.
Yes. What does that feel like?
Definitely a little more awkward walking into Burke Airport.
Has anyone ever tackled you just like out of, I think that's somebody.
No, I have not been tackled, but I've definitely been heckled. Buffalo was a pretty brutal place to walk into. Philly was a pretty brutal one.
Yeah.
I mean, the division ones, honestly, they're soft. They don't have much to say when I go there. But the ones that I remember that stuck out to me were Philly and Buffalo. Philly, really, I've gone there twice now, actually, and guys have tried to fight me both times. They beat out their chest, and they're like, "You trying to?" I'm like, "No, just here to watch."
Yeah. And by the way, I appreciate in this conversation there, Gab, you immediately go to violence. Like,
Well,
tell us about the time you've been tackled.
Hey, I was
Like, has
just
that happened to you? You've worked a lot of different games, Gab. Has anybody tried to tackle you?
no, it's hard to tackle me because
You have security.
Gab's a runner.
well, the World Series in 2016, I did have to get security because I got in a tuffle. Like I got in between people, like trying to fight each other. And so I was kind of like pinballing back and
way.
forth, and I was like, "Oh shoot, I got to get out of here." And that was when I was in like peak runner shape, so I was like real skinny, and they did equip me with security from then on.
So was it like
But-
a Cubs fan v Indians fan, or was it friendly fire, or like?
In the moment, I
Yeah,
couldn't.
just
It
a
was so
blur.
chaotic that I couldn't understand what exactly
Yeah.
the issue was. I just knew I was like, I gotta weasel out of this. But yeah, no, I was coming at it as from like he literally does look like an escaped inmate, like
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah, no, like for
so
real.
I wasn't
like,
sure if security would be like, is that somebody we need to take in? But as you pointed out, it could have been from fans too, because people might say, oh, who's this with the loud, obnoxious? You're making your statement right there.
Oh, yeah.
With
Yeah.
your vibrant color head to toe.
No, for me, it came from a place of just watching a lot of true crime. And I see this guy heading towards, we're in what should be a high security place. There's airplanes. I mean, the A's are here today. WWE is parked right out here. I'm like, this guy's going to go jack one of these planes. Like, just stumbled out, of the correctional facility. So glad to see that that's not the case. What is the case, though, is I know you have like an ongoing charity thing that's going on. Obviously, the upcoming charity concert. Tell us a little bit about that and kind of what led you to starting up that mission.
Yeah, so it's called Settlers Landing Charity Concert. It's a free admission concert. It's going to be downtown, the Flats of Cleveland. Settlers Landing Park is the name of the park that it's going to be at. Best way I can kind of describe where it is it's like under the Detroit Avenue Bridge, if you know where that's at. And again, it's right next to Settlers Landing Park, kind of across the river from like Jacobs Pavilion. The charity that we're doing it for is called Wags for Kids. It's working animals giving service for kids. It's an awesome organization. They provide service and support animals for kids with autism, cerebral palsy, a number of other disabilities. They're a smaller local charity. They're actually located in Berea, right by our, beloved Browns headquarters. And gotten talking with them. And it's as far as the why, I just kind of, I feel like I'm someone who has a lot of resources and people who are willing to help out and give back to a community like that. And I just thought, we're going to kind of put it all together. I myself am performing at this concert, so I'm a musician myself. So that obviously played into it as well. But just trying to help people and do what's best for this cause. Wags for Kids, they were founded in 2004. They've placed about 60 of these service animals. You can visit their website at wagsforkids.org. And then our event page is slcc7723.com. That's Settlers Landing Charity Concert. It's July 7th, 2023 is obviously when it is. It's going to be an awesome night. We're going to have food trucks. There's going to be a Barrio food truck, a Tropical Snow food truck. There's going to be raffle baskets. There's going to be 50-50 raffle. It's going to be sweet.
Awesome. What do you play?
I actually am a hip hop artist, so I play some guitar, but I'm not well versed enough with it to get up on stage quite yet. That is definitely a dream and a goal of mine to kind of continue on that path. But there's a cover band.
So you're gonna freestyle up there, is what you're telling me?
I mean, I could freestyle, but it's gonna be a good thing. It's we're gonna have a cover band called Save the Frogs. It's all local Cleveland guys. Kevin Pachuta is gonna open up. He's like an alternative soft rock guy. We're gonna have a stand-up comedian hosting it. So a lot of cool things.
Who's the stand-up?
His name's Dirty Kurt.
Dirty Kurt.
Dirty Kurt.
Come on out, baby.
Yeah.
Wags for Kids.
Oh yeah, Dirty Kurt. That's the funny. Like you see that on the charity webpage, and you're like, that's a little. But yeah, it's all for a great cause. The Wags people are really excited about it. We're really excited about it, and come on down. Like I said, it's a free admission concert. We're just asking people to kind of donate whatever's in their heart. Whether that's $1, $100, whatever people want to donate that night, or moving forward. Our webpage has plenty of links that they can donate on. As you can see, there's various performers on the back of that t-shirt.
It does
there.
have Dirty Kurt on the shirt.
Oh yeah,
which,
you got to shout him out.
Yeah,
He's hosting.
Yeah, I'm very excited now to wear this because I got Dirty Kurt right about where like a tramp stamp tattoo would go. So
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Hey, Jru, that is really cool stuff. How long does it take to coordinate something like this?
This was something that I kind of just came up with like late February, early March. So I've been pretty much grinding on it every day, just trying to do something little every day. I promised myself whether it's send an email, make a phone call, if I just did something small every single day and just kind of chipped away at it, it would start to come together. And it's really kind of come together. We're kind of in the promo stage of it all now. Everything is kind of in place as far as what we need to do for the vendors. We have Rock the House coming and setting everything up.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna have porta potties. We're gonna have an EMS stand, so everyone will be safe and happy as far as that goes. All those pieces are in place. We're just kind of, that's why I reached out to you guys and kind of, I'm not too as well connected as I am with people and stuff. I'm not much of a social media guy. I have like 300 Twitter followers, so I was like, hey, well, maybe we can get the word out there in other ways. So I appreciate Big Play having me on and helping me do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, any of that sound familiar? The planning stages of things?
Yeah. Let's not try to angle in to talk about the 0-16 parade. No, we're not going to talk about that right now. But yes, there are a lot of things you have to coordinate that people don't realize. So I could definitely understand that. But I was dealing with the subject matter of like the 0-16 Browns, our pathetic team at that point. He's got puppies and kids. I mean, does it get
Dirty Kurt
and Dirty Kurt? Yeah, we got a little bit of everything, Chris.
You're not talking about like old people and bugs. He's got puppies and kids. I mean, that should be an easy sell, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty good combination. That's another reason that I actually my girlfriend's brother is autistic, and they have a family dog who the two of them. Once I saw them vibing, and I was kind of like, I stumbled onto Wags for Kids. I didn't really go into it with the mission of this is who it's going to be for. It just was the perfectly match. It was a perfect match. Once I found them, I was just like, okay, perfect. Berea, local. You're a reputable organization, but they're not some huge national organization who gets $50,000 donations all the time. Whatever we end up raising for them is really going to make a big difference for them. So we've set a lofty goal of $35,000 at this point. That is the exact or the approximate amount that they told me it costs them to train, place, and monitor a dog. So that's the goal we've set out for. We would love to be solely responsible for one of these placements to get one of these kids, one of these dogs that they need and deserve.
We should be able to you guys should be able to name it too.
I think
Chubb.
that they even said that we could name it. Yeah, Chubb, maybe Miles.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Probably
so
not
cool.
Deshaun, but that's okay.
Yeah, Miles would be a good dog name. Even like Garrett would be a good dog name.
Elijah
Would be a good dog name.
Greg.
Greg.
Just Greg.
Greg the dog.
So tell me this. So I'm thinking about you wearing the orange suit to all of these Browns games and all of this bad football over the years. Has there been some like doors open to you by wearing this orange suit? Have you met anybody cool? Have you had any like celebrities that have come up to you, or just the common man who comes up to you? Is there anything that you've gotten out of it from wearing this suit to all these games?
I've met some really cool people along the way. It's really, I know this is hard for Browns fans who have only been to Browns home games to believe, but not every stadium is a hostile hellhole of people screaming and shouting at you.
Philly,
yeah, Philly was, like I said, there's a couple places that were rough, but I had a lot of fun in Tennessee the 2 times I've been there. I went to the playoff game in Kansas City. They were super nice, of course, coming off a Super Bowl win. They didn't give a shit that we were there. But when I went to Lambeau, I wore the orange suit, ironically, just because I thought it would be funny. I had my Browns jersey and people were like, "What are you lost, kid? Like, you don't belong here." But like all in fun and games. So that was a fun experience too, meeting some Packers fans. I'll actually never forget that. They won their playoff game and they walked out like they were walking out of like the third quarter of a preseason game. They were just kind of like, business as usual. We'll see you next week. And I was like,
No way.
you guys aren't like tearing down the stadium. You aren't taking the seats home as souvenirs, because that's what would happen if we ever won a home playoff game, right?
Right.
So that was a cool experience too. But as far as met individual people, not really, just family and friends along the way. But yeah, I've not every stadium is met with hostility. So I've had some fun going to some of these places, and I have fun even when there is hostility.
For sure.
Cool.
So on the field this season, do you have a number of wins you think for the Cleveland Browns this year? We're playing 17 games. How many of those are we going to win?
Oh boy, this is always a tough question because I'm an eternal optimist. People will laugh at me, but I'm a double digits guy. I think we'll get
Nice.
I think in 11, maybe 12 if we're.
I knew he was gonna say 12. The orange suit gave it away.
Yeah, 12 and 5 sounds. It's got a good ring to it, I really don't think that. We're not the little brother of our division anymore. It felt like that way for a long time, but Pittsburgh seems like they're as weak as they've ever been. Baltimore isn't the big bad dog that they used to be. The real challenge in the division is Cincinnati, and I think I saw somewhere recently that we're like 8-2 against them in the last 10 games or something like that. So I'm not really intimidated by anyone in our division. As far as the rest of the schedule, I'd have to check it out and really go, game for game. But I have confidence in what we're doing. We have the best running back in the NFL, in my opinion, in Nick Chubb. We got an undisputably, top 5 defensive player in Myles Garrett, and we got some new pieces that we brought in, and hopefully we could just we can get that bounce back year from Deshaun that we've been looking for.
There we go.
Now, to be fair, Nick, you didn't expect him to come in, right, in an orange suit and say the Browns are going to go 4-13. Right?
Right, exactly.
You can't pull that off, right?
I would have been surprised. Like, yeah, guys, I don't really know, if they could be looking at trading Chubb by the by, that would have been a true surprise.
Oh, I will smother
Dude,
all
Jim
the trade Chubb talk. But yeah, take it with a grain of salt, because I probably came off that 2016 1-15 season hollering the same thing, and we saw how that worked out. But this feels different. Kevin Stefanski feels like the real deal. I know he's got some things he's got to work on, but everybody on the team does. And like I said, it feels like the division is ripe for the taking these days.
Good stuff, man. Thank you so much for popping in here. And real quickly, again, tell everybody where they could find out about this concert event and what they could do to help.
Absolutely. So our webpage is SLCC7723. That's, Settlers Landing Charity Concert. 7723 is the date. You can find all the information there. Link to the GoFundMe. There's, you could pay through Venmo. You could donate through Cash App. You could donate through cash or check. There's all sorts of information on that. Like I said, slcc7723.com. And other than that, if you want to come by that day, it's a free event. If you can't donate, you can't come by, at least, spread the word to your family and friends. Maybe they'll want to.
Love it. Well, if I'm free, I might go through and see the Dirty Kurt set live. So
Yeah, totally. Thanks so much for what you
appreciate
do.
hopping in here.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me.
Definitely.
Well, man, that's really exciting. I have to check my schedule, but that seems like something really. I love the charity stuff that go on in Cleveland, like Ricky Smith and so many different. I love that it's for these causes that some of them are just we haven't heard about them.
And like you said, like a local Berea place that doesn't get like any national play at all. Like it's guys like this,
Those are my favorite
bring
charities.
these to the
They're kind of not everybody knows about them, but they're doing all this wonderful work, and they could use the help. So
who would know that it costs, that it's that expensive to train and get a dog and to be able to be with a special needs person. Like 35, that's a lot of money, to have. So shout out to everybody, slcc7723.com. Go check them out. And Gab, I have big news. We actually have an intro video for Fill in the Blank.
Okay.
The debut.
It better not be my Two Truths and a Lie.
It's
video.
not. Alrighty.
Okay.
You like it? Go for it.
All right. Here we go. Filling in the blank. The Cavs should blank on draft night.
So they got some options here, Chris. What do you think? You like them to trade up, stay put? There's some rumors floating around that Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram are available. We know Damian Lillard could be on the move. We saw some movement earlier this weekend in the NBA with that Bradley Beal trade. They currently own the 49th pick. Chris, do you care what they do on draft night coming up here this week?
Boy, there's a part of me that would love to have Zion, but I have these visions of Greg Oden with him at this point in his career, and I just can't go there. But Nick, I'll ask you this question. Do we have any of the capital that we would be able to really trade up? Is that an option on the table, do you think?
I mean, it's been floated out there that they're trying to at least do a small trade up. I think the Pacers are there in the mid to late first rounds. I don't know what that would look like, though, Chris, or really the reasoning behind it when you factor in, like, well, is that really what this team is? This team really a late first round rookie away from competing? So I know that that's something that's been floated out there, and that Pacers pick is the one that people are kind of continually bringing up. I think they have enough to make something smaller like that happen, but I just don't really see what the value in that would be. So my answer is to probably just stay put there at 49. If you've listened to Booby's World here on the Big Play Network, Booby has guys at 49 that he's very excited about. Obviously, he's been involved all offseason in like their scouting process with the Cavs, so he's done a lot of work. He's got guys that he's pounding the table for. So I think they should stay put at that 49th pick. But then also, they have worked out guys that'll be, there in that 20 to 25 range. So nothing would really surprise me.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see them getting somebody probably pretty uninspiring, probably some sort of a project, and we'll see if it works out. So I think it's going to be a very anticlimactic draft for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm fine with that, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm not going to...
That's the point we're at.
Yeah. I'm not going to walk away disappointed. If they get a solid player at 49, like you said, Chris, a bit of a project, so be it. I'm content. It would be cool if they could find a big swing and get a Zion Williamson. I know you said you're a little concerned about, this stage of his career. The kid's only 22.
I know. People are saying that about Greg Oden, too. He's going to come on. I mean, come on. He's going to be something. He's going to be something he never was. And, that hurt me because an Ohio State guy, I saw just so much potential out of that guy. And that Ohio State team that made that fabulous run, and he just – it was just so disappointing. And I don't wish that for Zion, certainly, but as an organization, that's something that's got to cause you pause if you're even thinking about bringing him on board.
All right.
Yeah.
Blank will win the Greg Newsome Charity Softball Home Run Derby.
So we have the confirmed participants. We don't have a confirmed list of who's actually participating in the
that
derby.
Okay.
But I think we need
I bet Donovan Mitchell will.
You think? I need to know more. A guy that needs no introduction of Wyatt Teller.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if
Nice.
he could swing a baseball bat, but could you imagine how magical that would be if he just walked up to the plate and started just mashing
Ripping bombs.
softballs?
I like that one. I like
Yeah,
that. I
that's a
see.
good
Is
choice.
T.O.'s going to be out there?
I guess so, yeah. I don't know if he's going to be hitting home runs, but he'll be out there.
That's amazing. But if David Njoku's
I could
just
see
huge, and I
Njoku.
just think he's got so much potential on the football field or even on the diamond. I could see that guy jacking some balls. I've never seen him swing, but I gotta imagine there's some power in that swing. So give me Njoku to win it.
I could even see like sneakily like DeAnthony Bell, the safety that they had on the roster, or like a Grant Delpit, a guy that's maybe a little smaller but still just really, really strong. So it's going to be fun. Obviously, we're going to be out there with Bernie and Hanford for the softball tournament. So come say what's up. And yeah.
All right, the A's.
Donovan Mitchell going to be out there in a Mets jersey.
Yeah, and a Knicks hat.
Yeah, guys, thanks for that clip you put on Twitter of just talking over me for 30 seconds.
Of what trying to save you, Gab.
What about your comments on him,
What?
Donovan Mitchell?
What about him?
I don't care enough, but I made one comment. Nick's over here passionate about it.
I mean, I'm just saying the same. I'm going to say the same thing that I said last week. And this could even constitute for if it's up before the draft, then go for it. I'm with you and what you were trying to say.
Yeah, the clip doesn't even have me making a point. It's just Chris bodying me. Like,
No, so like what your point
Oh,
was.
I see. This is on me. Is that what's going on here?
I can't believe you guys posted a real clip of you guys just talking over me for 30 seconds, and then the comments were like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't even make an actual point in this thing, but okay.
Welcome to the
That
comments.
is a little rough. That is a little rough. That's true.
All right, so
I don't make those clips. First of all,
so here's the thing. Here's what's going on with the Mitchell thing. If he's not going to give you the commitment, and I would even say this summer, like you got to have those conversations start up. If you're the Cavs, you can't get left at the altar. I mean, the guy has proven now throughout all these different things that he's done, showing up at the Mets games, posting Instagram pictures with Emmanuel Quickley, who plays on the Knicks. If he has a foot out the door is all I'm trying to say is you got to realize that before it's too late and you get left at the altar and you look dumb. You don't want to look dumb. And that's what you're at jeopardy of doing if the guy doesn't commit to you. So you got to figure that out.
And I don't get why people are offended by that either, because the reality is, I don't know if you feel this way, but I love sports, but at the end of the day, I don't really give a shit either way, only because this happens all the time in sports. LeBron even,
Especially in the NBA.
yeah, in the NBA, like it's such a thing. It's nobody needs to take offense to it. If it could just be a reality that, hey, the dude grew up loving New York, he wants to play in New York. That's not the craziest thing that's ever happened. With LeBron, it was like, hey, this is a guy with big dreams. He wants to go play at these. He wants to elevate his career, and then we accepted that. It's just,
And for the Cavs right, exactly. So for fans shouldn't be getting that upset and up in arms.
people were irritated.
But if that's the case, though, the organization needs to realize it. And I don't care. Maybe the Knicks don't want him. We don't know that for sure. Maybe it's the Nets, as the New York team. Maybe it's not. Maybe the best pack. That's the great thing of the guy still being under contract. And like you said, you read some of those comments. Well, he's still under control for 2 more seasons. So why would you get rid of him now? Because the way that the NBA works is that if you get rid of him now, you're going to get the most back. When you factor in, you gave away an all-star in Lauri Markkanen, 3 first-round picks, all types of pick swaps till you're blue in the face. Colin Sexton, who could win a 6th Man of the Year at some point in his career. So you got to realize that now. And the beauty of having him under that contract is that you could send him wherever. You could send him to the Indiana Pacers. You could send him to, the Pistons. It doesn't matter, but you got to get back at least what you gave up, especially he's an all-NBA talent, was an all-star this year. You got to figure that out.
In any case, he is my pick for winning the home run derby.
Love it.
Okay.
Why are we spending so much time on Donovan Mitchell when we got a perfectly good Bo Naylor who's been called up?
We should talk about
You
Bo.
know?
Bo Naylor.
Baseball.
What do
come
we
on.
want to know with Bo Naylor?
1-0. He's still looking for that first hit of the season, but
It'll come.
I'm calling it 1-0.
All right. All right, let's keep on baseball. The A's leaving Oakland for Vegas is...
Bullshit.
I feel for the fans. I
Absolute
feel bad for the fans.
Bullshit. So do I. We lived through it here in 95. We lost our team. We lost a team that we're very passionate about. And you just hate to see that happen to anybody under any circumstances. And this ownership group and baseball collectively is just crap for having this happen. So I feel bad for the fans of Oakland.
I'm going to go with Chris and say unfortunate. I feel bad. I
didn't
love...
say unfortunate. I said bullshit.
Well, yeah. But I like that the fans did their reverse boycott last week, and people were like, oh, they took it too far when they started throwing stuff on the field. No, throw whatever on the field. I mean, you guys were put through. You lost the Raiders. You lost the Warriors. Now you're losing the A's. Like, yeah, there are people that were pretty pissed off. And, these billionaires are going to get a brand new, beautiful complex in Vegas. You factor in all the sports betting money that's going to come in from being in Vegas. I mean, they're going to be... If they're upset about having to pay a custodian a little bit of overtime to pick up a few Budweiser cans, I don't know what to tell you. And like Chris said, here in Cleveland especially, I feel like we kind of know what that feels like. It's nice now that we have all three teams in town, but imagine the opposite where all three teams get ripped away from you. In the Warriors, the Raiders, and now the A's. It sucks. I like the reverse boycott, and I hope the Guardians beat the A's this week, though.
We do hope for that.
Is the Oakland A's plane still outside there at Burke?
I think so. I can't see it from where I'm
gotta
sitting
be.
right
Where
now.
else would it go, right?
Yeah,
They
I mean,
flew
it was
into
a
town, so
pretty
it's not like they're going to take off.
pretty beefy guy. I wonder if that's kind of similar to the is that just the friends and family? Is that the actual team? I wonder what's going on out there. But yeah, they're
I
out
love
there.
how basic it is. It's just all white, and then you have the Oakland
A's.
A.
Yep.
That's perfect. I kind of expected it to be more like the plane from Major League, the prop plane.
Yeah.
But so I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't that it was actually a legitimate plane.
Oh,
because
I
that
mean,
would've been more applicable.
Park next to the WWE plane that's here also. And the WWE plane's pretty sweet.
Yeah. You got Triple H coming off of there, and you got Triple A coming off the Oakland.
Oh, burn. All right.
Guys, the fan voting for the MLB All-Star Game is...
So stupid.
What's happening?
Well, here's the thing, and I'll tell you what's happening and why, because I see Jose is
I'm
ninth.
so bummed. It's so dumb.
Jose is 9th for AL third baseman. Naylor is 10th for AL first baseman. The phase 1 of voting ends Thursday at noon. The reason why is nobody could watch the Guardians. The people, you go on Twitter, you tweet anything about the Guardians, it gets no engagement because all these TV contracts and they're stepping on top of each other's you-know-whats, trying, like I'm complaining about with the Vegas, trying to get all this money. Nobody knows who Josh Naylor is. Obviously, the diehard baseball fan does, but Josh Naylor could probably walk into Pizza 216 right now and maybe sign one autograph, and the rest of the people would be like, who the hell's that?
Yeah, is that our issue? I mean, that's plausible.
Nobody could watch the games. Nobody knows who these guys are.
Everybody knows who Jose Ramirez is. That's the one thing I would cause pause on, because you know who Jose is, and I am surprised because usually this kind of stuff lags a little bit nationally. So you have a player who kind of comes up and he starts getting some momentum, and usually by the time they elect him in, he's probably should have been elected before. Now, Jose's been up there for a few years, so everybody should be very familiar with him on the national stage.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he's just not getting the love. And I do think that it's due to the fact that you do not see the Guardians on TV nationally nearly as much as you do other teams, as everything flows to New York or Boston or the bigger cities traditionally. And then you're right. I mean, locally, guys like Josh Naylor aren't getting the kind of run and aren't getting the kind of buildup they used to. You see it on social. You talked about it. You start tweeting a lot of things about the Guards. It's very hard to get traction.
You start losing followers.
Do you think they should change the system? I mean, this will never happen probably, but...
Major League Baseball needs to buy out the rights and just show everybody the games.
Yeah,
locally.
I just don't think it's fair. It's just not... You're not going to get your most accurate... I don't know.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be a system, and I get that this is phase 1 or whatever the fan votes. The top 2 voters...
What is the ratio, though, to fan versus...
For sure. So phase 1 of voting, which is what we're in right now, ends Thursday at noon. The top 2 vote getters from each position move on to phase 2 to determine the starters. So that's broken.
Yeah.
Because then, so like what happened in the NBA a couple years ago? I forget the player. I want to say it was maybe Boban or like, one of those meme type players, and fans of NBA Twitter are just like, we're going to have this guy start the All-Star game. Like this player that I think it was maybe Taco Fall. It was like, we're going to try to get Taco Fall to start the All-Star game. So all these people start doing all these fan votes for Taco Fall. And then the league steps in and is like, no. But someone should troll the MLB and do something like that. Like, give me David Fry as the starting catcher for the American League, because this is just not a good process. Like, so then the top 2 vote getters from these fan votes from each position, and then that determines the starters, and then the reserves. Everybody else is July 2nd.
Yeah. Oh, okay. The reserves.
So it sounds like we'll have.
So you're saying phase 1 is completely determined by fans?
That's what I have here in my notes. I don't know. I don't vote for anything.
That's kind of a shame, because you're having the season of a lifetime, and you don't get voted in because it was a popularity contest.
Naylor.
Josh Naylor is the number 1 first baseman with runs batted in right now in the American League. Plus, he had that 14 game hitting streak. Is he still going?
Yeah, it got snapped this past weekend. But yeah, you have this crazy streak.
Jose Ramirez, he hits his 300th career home run. In doing so, I think he surpassed his RBIs too, which was a nutty number. And then moving up in an insane way on the Cleveland history list, but also just in the American League and in baseball in general. This guy's crushing it. And then he's what, 9th or 10th in
Naylor's 10th.
All-Star?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Kind of wild.
Yeah.
And to illuminate a little bit on how hard it is to follow the Guardians, you talk about the people in Northeast Ohio. Columbus here. If you cut the cord and you don't go with DirecTV or Spectrum here, and you go and get the Bally's app, if you get that, you're going to be getting Reds games here in Columbus. And then you say, oh, okay.
They're good
then
too.
I will go and I'll get the MLB package, right? So I'll get every game because I'm clearly out of market for the Guardians. You do that, you will have blacked out games for the Guardians. So you cannot watch them unless you get DirecTV or you have Spectrum down here. So you have to be in the cord. And that is just not my lifestyle these days. I am anti-cord, and it makes it very tough to follow the Guardians. So yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging. And even on the radio around here, it's tough to find the radio station. So oftentimes I'm listening to 1100 up there in Cleveland.
Okay, yeah, that's what I do. I just Google WTAM
Same,
and then
live
click
stream
play.
and then just play it on
Yeah.
my phone. Yeah.
Yep.
What a world. What a world.
That
We have
gets
cars
me.
that drive themselves, but watching the Guardians at 7:10 is mission impossible. Boom, what do you say we hit some bets? He's pulling up the music. I put him on the spot. You could bet on the Guardians all season long with us. Tipico lets you bet on the biggest sporting events all year round. MLB, MLS, PGA, you name it, they probably have it. This week, Tipico is offering a very special bet for the Big Play fam. You bet on Bo Naylor to hit a home run every night, and if he doesn't do it, you're going to get a bet on us back to bet Guardians money line. So it's kind of a no sweat Bo Naylor home run bet. It's going to be on the promotions page in the Tipico Sportsbook app. So be sure to sign up with that show link. When you deposit $50, you get $200 of bets on us. You got to be 21 years or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But this week, guys, we're doing a special promo for Bo Naylor. He's going to hit that home run, Chris, and you want to make sure you're on it. And even if he doesn't do it, you're going to get
That
bet
credit
credits
back.
back to bet on Guardians money line. So kind of a no-risk type deal to bet on Bo.
We've been waiting for Bo Naylor to come up, and here he is, folks. So I can't wait to put some money behind it and see if he can hit that first jack. I'm excited about just having him up here. I'll tell you what, the lack of production, we've talked about it ad nauseum out of that catcher position. I caution us against, expecting too much from Bo too early. We've done that with certain other players that I tend to get on the bandwagon about, the assassin, Bobby Bradley, RIP. But hopefully that doesn't happen to Bo, and I'm excited to have him as part of the big squad.
Alrighty, so let's build a same game parlay. We're actually going to do this for Wednesday. Same game parlay for Guardians versus A's. Gab, you've been red hot with these. Obviously, we know Bo's going to hit the homer on Tuesday, so let's do a same game parlay for Wednesday. What do you?
Okay, so Aaron Savali, I'm going to pull for him. Let's put him on over on, well, it probably doesn't say. What is today? Well, no, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, but we're going to build it for Wednesday. So
okay.
I think Civ is tomorrow.
I've got
Savali
an
tomorrow?
idea here.
Let's hear it, Chris. I'm all
So,
for it.
so Oakland A's, and now this may be before your time, Nick. The Oakland A's had a couple of hitters, prolific hitters, one by the name of Mark McGuire, the other by the name of Jose Canseco. Do you know what they were called? Do you know what that duo was called?
The
Either of you
Smash
can
Brothers. No, I don't know.
Wait.
Mash Brothers.
Oh,
The
was
Bash-
it? Oh, Mash Brothers.
the
I said Smash
Smash
Brothers.
Brothers
I
with
went
a
Super
B.
Mario.
Now we have the unique opportunity, since we are playing the Oakland A's, we have real brothers, right? We're already saying Bo Naylor hits a home run. What if we add Josh to the mix and call it like a Bash Brothers,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The
we could play both.
Guardian Bash Brothers
I like
right
that.
there. Both of them to hit a home run, or a combination of like extra bases from one home run. You already had the Bo home run, so maybe Josh hits a double or more. I don't know how it would look, but some kind of a Bash Brothers play there against the Oakland A's.
Yeah, let's do that Wednesday. We could do Bash Brothers and just boost the Nailers, plus naturally sprinkle in that Guardians money line. They're at home.
Who's on the mound Wednesday?
They haven't named the starter yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, weird.
That's always good news. That's a
Yeah,
bullpen day
maybe.
with a day off. That's kind of odd, right?
Yeah, no starter named yet.
There's
Is
still
that because Sticks is on the hook right now, on the shelf?
The A's have the worst team ERA in baseball. That's a 6. So it's going to be a good week to get some hits. If you look at the forecast in Cleveland, it's going to be nice weather. Let's get some hits off these guys. Let's sweep the A's and do some Bash Bros. Let's go to Saturday. Guardians and Brewers again in Cleveland. It's Tanner Bybee on Saturday. We got the starter there. Will the Guardians score over or under 4.5 runs against Freddie Peralta? He's 5-6 this year with a 4.6 ERA. The bats have warmed up 56 runs over the last 10 games for the Gardos.
This just in from intern Jack, Gavin Williams. He's scheduled to start for Columbus on Wednesday. Could get the bump for us.
Oh, if they scratch him. I don't know. I feel like that's asking a lot. We got Bo. I'm not trying to I feel like how these things go. I'm asking for too much. Should we bet the over Saturday?
Always bet the over. They're heating up, like you said. I'm kind of feeling it. The temperatures are going up. We're getting into summer, kind of the meat of summer. Summer officially starts this week, I believe.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about all the unofficial starts to summer. Now we have the official start of summer. So I think the bats are going to heat up. So I like that over on the 4.5 runs for the Guardians.
Like it. Let's go Sunday. We were just complaining about it, so now we have to talk about it. A nationally primetime Sunday night baseball. It's Dodgers.
Oh, what time do the Guardians play?
Dodgers versus Astros, Chris. Who wins this national televised game? It's Hunter Brown, who's 6-3, versus Tony Gonsolin, who's 4-2.
So this is a straight up to win, huh?
Pick your winner.
So I hate the Astros.
Yeah.
And I've got a wedding. I've got a wedding this upcoming weekend that I'm going to be attending, which is fantastic. It is for my cousin. So congratulations to Angela and Chris. So I'm excited about that. But I know some of the people that are there are going to be from the Houston area, and they're huge Astros fans. So for that, I say go Dodgers. So I am putting my money on the Dodgers.
Should we do now, Chris? Is the wedding in Ohio?
The wedding is in Ohio. Yeah,
So
it's down here in Columbus.
Should we put in a ask to Tipico to boost the Dodgers and do like a reflog relative boost Dodgers money line?
Wedded bliss bet right there. I love it.
Let's do
I love
it.
Yeah.
Let's go all in on the Dodgers for Sunday Night Baseball. That's a lot of fun. That'll probably be up. My guess would be like late Saturday night, early Sunday morning is when they would be able to get that one up.
Which is about like me. up late Saturday night, maybe up early Sunday morning.
Love it. All right, let's get into the NBA draft. Is Thursday. Let's make a bet. Will there be a trade in the top 5? We talked a little NBA draft as it pertains to the Cavs, but there are rumors the Pelicans want to trade up for Scoot Henderson. We've heard the Zion Williamson name be thrown around. We've heard Brandon Ingram as well. Damian Lillard wants Portland to trade number 3 for an established vet. If not, could he be on the move going somewhere else? Will there be a trade in the top 5 picks? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. The NBA is always crazy. It's the NBA offseason is the world's best sitcom. So I'm going to say, yeah, there's going to be a trade in the top 5.
Wow. Is this something we can bet on Tipico currently?
I
love
don't
this.
know if Ohio lets you do like that kind of stuff.
I love the thinking out of the box here that we've got. Between this, I saw this last week. You can bet Special Olympics. I like the way this is all going, to be honest with you. Yes, I'm going to say that there will be a trade in the top 5. I think the NBA is if it's one thing, it is made for TV at its finest. When you start seeing teams move around, jockey for position, you got players, you got personalities. We just saw a huge trade in the NBA yesterday, and I think that momentum kind of carries over, and we see it builds upon itself, kind of a momentum that goes into the draft. So yes, I think we do see a trade in the top 5.
For sure. I think it's going to be chaotic. Guys, that's our big play bets. A lot of
Let's
fun.
go.
That's a show.
Wow, good job, guys. That was great timing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks everybody for checking us out. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, Big Play REFLOG Show, and we will see everybody next week. Till then, see ya.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio! Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play REFLOG Show!
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn about it. Attack by Chuck. To the 10. He's the front to the 5. Jim Jones left. Victory. Touchdown. Ready? Away. Back to goal.
Good show, man. Yeah, it's a good show.
It's time! The Big Play!
Good show. Catch up next week. Do we have a guest yet?